My name is David Daniel Ball, and these are the headlines for Saturday, 31st of January, 2009. Fresh moves to oust embattled Premier Nathan Rees. Victoria facing days without power after blackout bedlam. British man fined for riding a horse while drunk. Rudd calls for a new era of social capitalism. That is a new phrase, like when he called himself an economic conservative. One guesses Rudd is going through a new phrase. Mother urged daughter to hit girl harder, court told. Police smash thieves' Aladdin's cave. Move over Dick Tracy, now anyone can have a watch phone. The Ku Klux Klan still alive and well, and in New Zealand. Teenager jailed for killing mates in a crash. And Google Maps caught running down Bambi. In comments from Andrew Bolt, "You're not safe anywhere." Reader Andrew R. went to OPSM for new glasses this week and was asked to read this chart to check his eyesight. In case you need glasses yourself, that newspaper extract reads as follows. The planet's rapid warming has pushed temperatures to their hottest level in nearly 12,000 years, and within a hair's breadth of 1,000,000 years, a study by the US Space Agency showed yesterday. Global warming, which has added 0.2 degrees centigrade a decade over the past 30 years, has caused temperatures to reach and now pass through the warmest levels in the current interglacial period, which has lasted almost 12,000 years, according to the study led by James Hansen, a leading climatologist at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies. The nagging never stops, does it? Bye America, bye-bye Europe. Gee, weren't nice Mr. Obama and his Democrat mates going to make friends again with Europe after that awful George unilateralist Bush? The EU Trade Commissioner vowed to fight back after the bill passed in the House of Representatives late on Wednesday included a ban on most purchases of foreign steel and iron used in infrastructure projects. The Senate's version of the legislation, which will be debated early next week, goes even further, requiring that any projects related to the stimulus use only American-made equipment and goods. The inclusion of protectionist measures has quickly raised hackles in Europe. This kind of last-century protectionism should raise hackles within America too. And from Tim Blair, commence the fettering. Attention robber barons, gold prospectors, and fur trappers, your days of unregulated freedom are over. Kevin Rudd has denounced the unfettered capitalism of the past 3 decades and called for a new era of social capitalism, in which government intervention and regulation feature heavily. This will be hard to get used to, you know, after 3 decades of little or no government intervention or regulation. It's okay. It's just a phrase he's going through. Get off my lawn. Imagine pitching a movie like Gran Torino to one of Australia's sheltered film funding workshops. It's about an old guy who lives alone. Why? Did his boyfriend leave him for another man after a disputed heroin deal? No. His wife died. Anyway, he doesn't like his neighbors. Because they're rich? Because they're yuppies who work for banks? No, because they're Asians. So one day this Asian kid tries to steal his stash, his Aboriginal art collection, his Koran autographed by David Hicks? No, his car. Then the kid's parents make him regain family honor by killing the old guy. Yes, at last, now we're getting somewhere. Take that property-owning, carbon-emitting white oppressor. No, they make him work for the old guy to redeem their shame. Somehow, you can't really picture Gran Torino getting very far as a project financed by Australian film czars, given the values on display in Gran Torino. In fact, given that it has actual values, it's likely local film folk wouldn't wonder if it had any audience at all. You'd have to bow to their superior insight. If there's one thing that local film folk know all about, it's films that nobody wants to see. Yet Gran Torino, directed by and starring 78-year-old Clint Eastwood as retired factory worker Walt Kowalski, has a very large audience indeed. In the US, it generated $44 million over its first weekend of release, the most for any Eastwood movie ever. It took only 3 days for the film to earn in sales what it cost to make, for the record $53 million. Analysts expect Gran Torino will earn more than $228 million before it closes in cinemas, meaning it will be Eastwood's most successful film. Actually, Tim, I think you're being a little unfair on local filmmakers. There is definitely a problem, as you correctly note, but it isn't entirely that good films are not being made. The problem, in my humble opinion, is that good films are not being picked up by the promoters and industry insiders, so that when a good film is made, like Maximum Choppage 2, then it isn't promoted and the cast and crew remain unpaid. Meanwhile, real dog films like Australia are promoted for their virtues, which have nothing to do with good cinema. Delightfully, not. Community Channel Natalie has already said she's looking forward to the film because of that scene where a neighbor tells their Asian neighbors to go home is so much part of her life. Jump, jump, jump. The science screaming at us, claims newbie warming alarmist John Kerry, who evidently thinks science is a specific and malevolent entity like Teresa. Al Gore takes Kerry's screaming science concepts and kicks it up a notch. The scientists are practically screaming from the rooftops. This is a planetary emergency. It's outside the scale we're used to dealing with, Gore told the senators. Let's wait until they're literally screaming from the rooftops, which they'll probably only do if their grants are withdrawn. As it happened, Barack Obama, before his election, we can't drive our SUVs and eat as much as we want and keep our homes on 72 degrees at all times, and then just expect that other countries are going to say okay, Obama said. That's not leadership. That's not going to happen, he added. And now, the Capitol flew into a bit of a tizzy when on his first full day in the White House, President Obama was photographed in the Oval Office without his suit jacket. There was, however, a logical explanation. Mr. Obama, who hates cold, had cranked up the thermostat. He's from Hawaii, okay, said Mr. Obama's senior advisor, David Axelrod, who occupies the small but strategically located office next door to his boss. He likes it warm. You could grow orchids in there. He's killing the planet. Forests are full. Environmentalist Jill Redwood explains why East Gippsland logging should be halted. The place is literally teeming with endangered species, Ms. Redwood said. Future coordinated. An internal ABC memo arrived via our Ultimo mole, who emails, notes the mock cheerful tone and bubbly enthusiasm for a purely voluntary program, offset by the casual revelation halfway through that it actually doesn't matter what the hell you think, it's going to be compulsory soon anyway. The message was sent in green typeface. Hi all, I'm Kiralee, the Green Futures Coordinator of the ABC. I also answer to Green Queen and that chick who's always telling me to recycle. It's my job to make the ABC a more environmentally friendly and aware corporation. It's a big job, and I'd like to ask you for your help. At the moment, we send out paper pay slips to all of our employees nationwide. It uses thousands of sheets of paper a fortnight, as well as the ink and water required to print them. As the pay slips are shipped to Ultimo and then freighted to other areas, it also adds carbon to the environment through road and air travel. But it doesn't have to be that way. Did you know you can receive our payslip by email or use ESS? It's more environmentally friendly, and it is also more secure than receiving a paper payslip. And of course, if you need to print your payslip out, you can. Eventually, email ESS payslips will be mandatory. At the moment, it is voluntary. Swapping to electronic payslips is an easy and painless way to help the environment, so please make the change. If only so that you don't have to put up with me harassing you ever again. Thanks, and have a great day. Kiralee. You too, Kiralee. The surprise is that the ABC hasn't already changed to email payslips, which the private sector mostly shifted to some time ago for the simple reason of reduced cost. And in an update, Kiralee flew to Las Vegas for a low-carbon wedding in 2007.